Today feels less like a regular day and more like a pivotal chapter in a history book that hasn't been written yet. We are staring down the barrel of a global trade war, one that has seemingly erupted out of nowhere, initiated by Washington and aimed squarely at the United Kingdom. We are looking at a historic fracture in the special relationship, a fracture caused not by ideology, but by a frozen island in the Arctic that most people couldn't point to on a map. We are watching the sudden, breathless collapse of confidence on the London Stock Exchange, where fortunes are evaporating by the hour. We are hearing a biting, almost cruel critique of British sovereignty coming from across the pond, questioning our very ability to hold our territory. I will also be digging into a massive, generation-defining overhaul of the British water system that promises the moon, but might just deliver more paperwork, and a controversial health revolution in America that is flipping everything we thought we knew about nutrition on its head. But stay with me, and don't you dare go anywhere, because the most revealing piece of this puzzle, the part that connects these disparate dots in a way you simply haven't heard yet, is waiting for you at the very end of this episode. I have to tell you, researching these stories, peeling back the layers of heavy political spin, and checking every single fact to keep this channel a true sanctuary from fake news is a massive undertaking. It is a hard job, truly, and it takes a toll. If you value this independent perspective, if you want the truth without the filter, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you are able, consider sponsoring us or using the Super Thanks feature. It is your support, and only your support, that keeps this light on in a world that is getting darker. And trust me, you will want to stick around until the final minute, because what I have uncovered about the real motive behind these territorial demands is the most interesting part of the day. So, it is official. The speculation is over, and the reality is here. Donald Trump has confirmed that starting February 1st, a punishing 10% tariff is hitting all British goods. We are talking about everything. Your Scotch whiskey, your British steel, the cars rolling off our assembly lines, all of it is about to get 10% more expensive for American buyers. And the reason for this economic sledgehammer? It is Greenland. It sounds like something out of a 19th century diary, doesn't it? It sounds like a joke you'd hear in a pub, but the president is dead serious. He is officially calling our refusal to facilitate a deal for the purchase of the island a mistake. A mistake. He is prepared to let these penalties ride day after day until he gets exactly what he wants. He has even threatened that by June, that 10% could jump to 25%. Imagine the pressure on British exporters who are already navigating a fragile post-crisis recovery. It feels like a shakedown, honestly, a kind of high-stakes real estate negotiation, where the currency isn't just money, but the very stability of our trade and the livelihoods of thousands of workers. It's almost funny in a dark way that in 2026 we are trading steel tariffs for ice sheets, as if the world is just a giant monopoly board for the ultra-wealthy. But you have to ask yourself, is this really just about land, or is it a test? Is it a test of how much the UK is willing to bend before it breaks? Keir Starmer isn't staying quiet, thank goodness, though his options are, shall we say, complicated. He has come out swinging, using language that is unusually sharp for a British Prime Minister talking about an American president. He is calling the tariffs in root and branch wrong and fundamentally unacceptable between NATO allies. He is right, of course. You don't tax your friends because they won't help you buy a country. Starmer is heading straight to Davos, hoping to rally a European coalition, trying to tell the world that the fate of Greenland belongs to the Danes and the Greenlanders themselves, not to a boardroom in Washington. It is a principled stand, and I applaud it. But you can feel the tension in Downing Street. There is this quiet, creeping realization that the special relationship is being treated more like a subsidiary agreement than a partnership of equals. Starmer is trying to play the diplomat, searching for a way to de-escalate without looking weak. But when the other side is using a sledgehammer, a polite conversation over canapes in the Swiss Alps might not be enough. It's charming, really, that we still think international law matters when the biggest player at the table decides to flip the board over because he didn't get the property he wanted. If you are wondering why the stakes are suddenly so high, just wait until we look at what is happening in the Indian Ocean. This is where it gets truly pointed and, frankly, a little insulting. Trump has taken to his social media platform, Truth Social, to launch a personal broadside against the British government. He is calling the decision to hand the Chagos Islands and Diego Garcia over to the jurisdiction of Mauritius, an act of great stupidity. Those are his words. He is framing the return of that territory as a sign of total weakness, a move that he claims invites China and Russia to step into the vacuum and threaten global security. He is using our own decolonization efforts, our attempt to follow international law, as a weapon against us. He is essentially saying that if London is too weak to hold on to its own strategic outposts, then the United States has every right, perhaps even a duty, to step in and secure Greenland for the sake of Western security. It is a brutal bit of irony, isn't it? He's using a legal and moral transition in the Indian Ocean to justify what amounts to a hostile territorial grab in the Arctic. It makes you wonder, if the UK keeps losing its grip on these far-flung territories, does it lose its seat at the table altogether? It's a classic bully tactic. Look at them. They're weak, so I might as well take what I want before someone else does. And the markets? Well, they are reacting exactly how you would expect them to react when the world turns upside down, with absolute panic. The London Stock Exchange opened with a sharp, sickening drop today. The FTSE 100 is bleeding value. The companies taking the biggest hits are exactly the ones you'd guess. Burberry, Diageo, the big exporters who rely on the American consumer. Investors are terrified. They aren't just looking at February, they are looking down the road to June, seeing that potential 25% tariff, and they are pulling their money out. They fear this could derail the entire British economic recovery. It is one thing to have political posturing. It is another thing entirely when that posturing wipes billions off the value of your economy in a single morning. It's the trickle-down effect of a trade war. Politicians argue about islands, and your pension fund takes a nosedive. The volatility is off the charts, and the mood on the trading floor is grim. It's almost as if the markets have realized that logic has left the building, and panic is the only reasonable response left. But if you think the financial sector is in trouble, just wait until you hear about the crisis flowing through our own pipes. While the geopolitical storm rages abroad back home, the government is finally trying to fix a domestic disaster that has been brewing for decades. They have released this new white paper, a massive £60 billion plan to overhaul the entire water system by 2050. We have all seen the headlines, haven't we? The sewage in our rivers, the leaks, the constant threat of supply interruptions. It's a national embarrassment. This plan is supposed to be the fix. They are talking about giving regulators the teeth to actually punish companies, to fine them heavily for pollution and failures. They are promising us a future where our water is clean and our infrastructure actually works. It sounds ambitious, doesn't it? But there is a shadow of doubt here. We have heard promises of reform before. Is this truly a turning point for British utilities, or is it just more expensive paper designed to distract us from the smell? It's £60 billion of "we're sorry, but I'll believe the water is clean when the politicians start drinking it straight from the river." Speaking of expenses, let's not forget the energy price cap. The regulator, Ofcom, confirmed the new limit has kicked in, and despite global prices stabilizing, bills for the typical household are still 45% higher than they were in 2021. It is a crushing weight for families to carry while the markets are in a tailspin and the government talks about 50-year plans. Now let's look across the pond again, because the upheaval isn't just about maps and money, it is about what is on your dinner plate. In the US, the new Secretary of Health, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is causing a different kind of stir. He has just proposed a total inversion, a complete dismantling of the traditional food pyramid. He wants to put animal proteins and healthy fats right at the base, the foundation of the diet, while pushing processed carbs and sugars to the very top, or frankly, off the list entirely. The medical establishment is in an absolute frenzy. Doctors, nutritionists, environmental groups, they are all screaming that this is dangerous. But Kennedy is leaning into it. He is claiming we have been fed a lie for decades, that the old guidelines made us sick. It is a radical shift in health policy that mirrors the radical shift in trade and diplomacy we are seeing. It is all about breaking the old consensus. Whether it is how we eat or how we trade, the old rules are being shredded right in front of us. It's ironic, isn't it, that after years of being told to eat our grains, the government might suddenly tell us that steak is the new kale? And if you think the markets are reacting to the tariffs, just wait until you see how the massive food conglomerates react to being told their products are now public enemy number one. And here is a small glimmer of light, or perhaps just a distraction, depending on how you look at it. Amidst all this chaos, the British media is frantically trying to find something positive to talk about, and they've landed on sport. Specifically, Wimbledon 2026. The bookmakers and analysts are already putting out their forecasts for the summer, naming the favourites, trying to whip up some excitement for the tennis season. It's a nice thought, isn't it? Strawberries and cream, the pristine grass courts, a polite round of applause. It's almost touching how desperately we cling to these rituals of normalcy when the world outside the stadium is on fire. It serves as a reminder that life goes on, that despite trade wars and water crises, we still care about who lifts the trophy. But let's be honest, it feels a bit like discussing the flower arrangements while the house is burning down. To wrap this up, we are watching a world being reshaped by raw leverage and aggressive ambition. We have the UK caught between its principles and its pockets as the Greenland dispute escalates into a full-blown trade war. We have the stock market reeling, shedding value as investors run for cover. We have the government trying to patch up our crumbling, leaking water infrastructure with a £60 billion promise, all while the very definition of British strength is being mocked by our closest ally. We are seeing a total reset of what is considered healthy and what is considered a fair deal. It is a lot to take in. It is overwhelming. And that is exactly why we do this work. To slow it down, to connect the facts, to make sure you see the patterns. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and please consider a super thanks to support our independent research. It truly makes a difference. And as for those tariffs, let's just say this isn't the last time we will be talking about the price of standing your ground. We are entering a new era, and the admission fee is steeper than any of us imagined.